Well, hello there. This is Karen from the East Tennessee group of United Real Estate. I am here with my team member, Austin.
Good morning or afternoon. Hello. How are you guys doing?
So we wanted to chat a little bit about the Sevierville, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge market. So Austin and I are both, I would say, probably specialists. This is the market that we focus in. Mm-hmm. This is really what the majority of our business comprises. So we wanted to maybe just chat a little bit about what that market is, what it looks like today, and maybe a little bit about what we see as opportunities. Does that sound good?
No,
okay.
That sounds great to me.
All right. So first of all, so when we talk about this market specifically, we're talking about short-term rentals.
Yes.
So overnight rentals, investments, and for the most part, we're going to talk about investment cabins. Obviously, there are condominiums that go on overnight rental program as well, and some chalets up in, especially in Gatlinburg, close to the ski resort up there. But let's, I think, really focus in on the cabins. So we know that cabins that generate the most amount of money on the overnight rental program, and we're talking to you, the investor, are cabins that are wood cabins.
Yes, definitely.
Wood
like
inside.
What you can see right here.
Yes, there we go. Wood inside, but modern looking,
yes.
Right? So tell me a little bit, Austin, in the past year or so, what you have found is selling the most when it comes to overnight cabins.
Definitely has to do with location. It's going to be a big thing. A lot of people get stuck on that view, which obviously a view is, a good and nice selling point, even when it comes to a rental.
Right.
But a big thing is going to be location, and whether it's amenities or, games in the house, maybe it's a pool cabin, maybe it's close by to attractions, just the ability to, get out and really explore the area.
Okay. So I would agree with that. I always say when I'm talking to investor clients of mine, that they think the view is it. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because even though we live in the mountains, views are actually pretty hard to come by,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So when you're talking about a rental cabin, you have to be on the right side of the mountain, on the right side of the road. Nobody wants to go up crazy mountain roads. We want to make sure that they're accessible, that sort of thing. So yes, I would agree. Location is key. But I want to expand on that just a little bit, because I think even though location is key, there are different locations that can be good, right? So
and everyone calls and asks, well, where's the best spot?
Right.
And
there isn't one,
Sevier
right?
County's the best spot.
Yeah. Exactly. So, so depending on who it is, their best location may be out in the woods where nobody's around and it's private and they really are getting close to nature. I have other clients who a great location means, a couple of blocks from the parkway, yes, because all they want to do is go downtown to the dinner shows, go race cars, go ride mountain coasters, that kind of thing. And then other people, a great location might be, a little bit out of town, maybe with a view, but they don't want to be too far away from anything. So,
yeah. And what I love about this area is everything you just said, there's a spot for. Right. I mean, you can go out to Wares Valley and you're going to get, nice mountain views without having to climb a mountain. You can go into Gatlinburg and you're going to be climbing that mountain, but you're also going to be closer to all the downtown's attractions and things. I mean, there's a market for everyone. And it also, a big question is, do they even want to use it? Is this just an investment? Is this for your family? How much are you going to be using it?
Yeah.
And that's when that question comes into play, is what exactly is it that you're going to do whenever you
Right.
come here.
And funny that you said it, because that's something that, in fact, it's always the first question I ask when I'm talking to new investors is, okay, why are we having this conversation? You know, what is your goal? Is it a second home? Is it a second home and an investment? Or is it just an investment? You know, because if it's just an investment, then it's about the numbers.
Yes.
And, you know, we can walk our clients through that. I know you do, I know I do, about what that looks like. But if they're planning on coming to visit,
it adds some of that emotion into it. And
right.
Yeah. If they need to be able to see their family in it, then yeah, it definitely
then that's different,
goes
right?
around to what, you know, their family needs and wants.
Exactly. So you mentioned a little bit about the actual cabin. So you spoke about amenities. So indoor pools. This is
so popular.
So popular,
yes.
right? So
yes.
popular. And I feel like we just keep adding more and more.
Especially after COVID, people don't want to go out to the public pools. And now you're going to be able just to, you know, go downstairs in your cabin and be able to get into the pool.
Right, so. Exactly. I love that. I know you mentioned, you know, during the pandemic a little bit, people, we still had a lot of people in town because people were almost, you know, social distancing together. So some of the larger cabins, you know, the 4, 5, 6 bedroom cabins were very popular because it was 2 or 3 families, you know, relations or whatever the case may be, who were together, maybe were not going and doing the activities in town, but had a pool, a hot tub.
I think that's when we really saw that these extra things inside the cabin are, and that's, I mean, arcade games and everything, the pool tables have always been a thing, but that's when you really see that that's going to add that extra value.
Right. So I just heard of something new coming up, and I've only heard of it twice be mentioned, but a sports simulator. So like a golf simulator. Have you seen those?
They're in Knoxville. They have one in Knoxville, and I know that they're actually building a Top Golf out there, you know, West Knoxville.
Okay.
But it is something similar to that. And I mean, it's you know, virtual, and you go in there and So I would be excited if we had something like that around here.
Well, the two that I'm hearing about, they're actually going into larger cabins. So
people are putting them inside their cabin. I know exactly. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, and I don't know exactly, and I'm familiar with like the Top Golf thing, but I'm thinking it's a room large enough where you can actually swing a golf club.
Well, and you've probably seen them on TV or something where, you know, they've just got the big projector in front of it, and, you know, the guy's just sitting there in his office or something and playing. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly so what they are.
So there's always something new coming up. Right? I heard the other day somebody was putting in a basketball court in the pool room. So they have an indoor pool in their cabin, but the actual room is quite large. So they were actually just going to put a basket and, you know, I guess a 3-point line.
Well, and I'm sure you've seen that where people say, well, what do I do with this little extra space over here? Yeah. Well, heck, if you want to add a basketball goal, then...
Right? Yeah. Because that's what, you know, when people are booking cabins, that's what they're looking at, right? Yeah. They're looking at photographs, they're looking at what's online. And so those cabins that have all of these great amenities are the ones that are getting higher rental.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit on the market. So that rental income, that's what's driving the prices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot nowadays of, this sounds crazy to say it, you know, $600 a square foot for cabins. So, okay, so how do
you justify that, right?
How do you justify that? You're an investor, you grew up with your mum having an overnight rental company, you know, that kind of thing. So when you're talking to a buyer who wants to buy a cabin and there's a cabin that you're going to present to them as something that, you know, meets their needs, you've just had that discussion. How do you get over that?
And they have that fear.
You know.
Well, and of course the question is, because that's the first thing you talk about is the income, is what it's producing and what this, here's the purchase price, but this is what, the income would be. And then, can it maintain that? And I think the answer would be, which of course, going through the pandemic, it really shut down a lot of outside travels. People were able to get in their car, which we're close to how many different areas that can just drive here. But I think that it definitely also, even to the people that are going to go back to traveling, let them know that we're here. And we're a weekend trip, we're a car ride away.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big thing. So I think that, talking with them about that and showing them that, not only through the pandemic, of course, did we keep rentals and everything, but it's just continued. As we were talking on a previous episode, there's just less and less of a slow period for this area.
Right.
So I think one of the main things that you look at, because again, you want to make sure those numbers make sense.
Right.
But if they do make sense, then it's just an easier way to overlook that price point. It is a high price point, but when the numbers make sense.
Right. So it's about the numbers. It's
about the numbers. Yeah.
Right. Interesting that you mentioned about people traveling. I was talking to actually a property manager, manages one of a large number of cabins in this area. And what he was saying was that although we probably got some growth on the overnight rental because maybe people weren't traveling to other places, so they were getting in the car and coming here. Mm-hmm. We lost all of those international travelers.
Yes, that's
so
true.
All the people that, you've got to remember, this is the Great Smoky Mountains. And so people...
Number one most visited national park,
right. So people come... not only from within the United States, but from abroad as well. And those visitors have not been coming. We're just starting to see those visitors come back now. So definitely, even though we may say, well, some people are going to start traveling abroad, but those people that are abroad are going to start coming back to us as well. So I definitely think, that it is about the numbers. Price points are high. They are up, but people are still making money.
Yeah,
right.
And that's
Passive
why they're
income.
still selling.
Right.
I mean, they're still selling, and the people are, the buyers are happy because they're getting that income.
Right.
And another thing is, if that price point is a little out of range for them, building is, kind of what we were talking about off camera.
Right.
But
yes.
Building is, a great way to be able to jump in at a little bit better of a price point. Going to get a little bit more of a deal there if you're building rather than if you're just go ahead and buying in a turnkey cabin.
So tell me a little bit about what you think, when it comes to building, what are the advantages to doing, to doing a new construction?
Well, basically, just what we said right there is you're going to be able to get that deal. Also, I mean, especially whenever you've got a relationship with a good builder, you're going to know the quality that, you're in, right. Whether you're out of state or local, your agent can be a part of it. You can be a part of it. You're going to be, a part of that process and be able to know what's happening and what's going on. But I would say the biggest benefit is being able to jump in at a deal.
Right. So what you're saying is that there's still opportunity on new construction to get in kind of a little bit under market value, really, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, because if you think about it, you're going to be able to get a better deal on that versus, something that, because you're not going to make that income right away. I mean, you're not. It's going to take, and who knows with builders right now, hopefully 8 to 10 months to get it done. But, so that time frame, that waiting period is going to be your advantage if you have the ability to do that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I actually do have a few builders that I kind of know and trust that I'm happy to recommend, to people.
And we'll get those when we get off the camera.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yes. Building time is one thing. I think the other thing that is really an advantage for the newer construction is that some of these, pools that we were just talking about, you can add that in, whilst you're building something, add in the pool that you're going to build, into the cabin that you're going to build.
I think that's definitely smart. If you have the ability to do that, I think that's definitely smart because, I mean, we are seeing it every new construction. I mean, everyone is putting a pool here and a pool there. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're going to want to be able to compete with those people.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. How are people competing? You know, when we're talking about new construction, I hear people tell me, well, I want to stand out. I want my cabin to stand out a little bit from somebody else's so that when they're looking through the photographs, they pick that cabin. So what do you think?
Definitely finishes.
Okay.
I mean, definitely finishes. You are going to want a little bit more of that. I mean, of course, anything with a cabin, they're going to want it to be a little bit rustic. I mean, it is just kind of
a cabin in the mountains.
It is. It's a cabin in the mountains. But the way that some of these people are doing it is they're really throwing a modern twist on it, which I think is obviously great.
Right.
But I think that definitely helps you stand out in photos.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I've even seen people who, you know, accent walls in the house and stuff to kind of stand out with that. You know, kind of give it a bit of more of a modern look. But other than that, the, you know, amenities, whether it's with amenities with, you know, a development or something like that, or it's just amenities inside the cabin, being able to have the, you know, comfortable space where you guys can kind of spread out a little bit, but also be able to get together in an area and play the games, get in the pool, and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think that would be a great way.
I think you definitely touched on it a little bit there with the rustic but modern, right? People still enjoy a little bit of luxury.
Yes.
And when you're on vacation, then something a little bit more luxurious than home is always a great thing. So, just that little bit extra, the nice decor, then maybe the nicer marble or granite, the nice furnishings, that sort of thing.
Help keep it warm too. I mean, you don't want to come into, you know, something that you don't feel like you can get dirty or anything. I mean, you're here at a cabin, you want to be here with your family, you want it to be homey and comfortable, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let me ask you this.
An outdoor space.
Oh, yes.
Outdoor space.
Okay.
If you have something, I mean, a fire pit, even if it's, you know, just a picnic table with a grill outside, any kind of ability to get an outdoor space is, you know, a real good way to stand out.
Yes, I like that. I do like that. You're exactly right. Because a lot of the cabins don't have that.
Yeah.
The bottom line is we build on the side of mountains, right? And so outdoor spaces.
And porches are even a great outdoor space as well. But if you have the ability and the land to put a little something extra out there, you know, fire pit or something, it's definitely a plus.
So let me tell you, you know that I invest in cabins as well. So I had a little 2-bedroom cabin, and I actually had one of those gas fireplaces that was just on the deck, and it was beautiful and it was great. We sat outside there, comfy seats, the fire going, looking out at the view.
Yes,
it was, you know, we can't do that at home, you know. So yes, something
a great spot for memories
just
too.
to be outside,
to be able to gather around, and I love that.
Okay, all right, super. So to kind of tie up, you're working with, I know, I'm sure, probably multiple investors right now. Okay. So what are you doing to make sure that you find the cabins that your investors are after?
A lot of it's going to be working relationships, off-market things. You know, if you can get something before everyone else is able to get their hands on it, I mean, that's the key.
That is it.
So, being able to work those connections and those relationships, and also talking with, you know, investors about, you know, I know you want to build a cabin or you want to buy a cabin. Why not build a cabin and, you know, get stuff under kind of going that way to where you can get a better deal. And also with the inventory right now, I mean, you know, everyone says, oh, I don't want to get into a multiple offer. Oh, I don't like that, or any of that situation. I think new construction is a great route for those people.
So what would you say, and I know you hear this, I should have bought, we've been looking in this area
so
for
many
3
times.
years, 5 years. I should have
So
bought a
many
cabin
times.
2 years ago. What do you say to those people?
I had a guy message me not too long ago, and he said, I should have bought those last 6 cabins you showed me last year. And I said, yeah, you should have. And then I sent him more cabins and said, here's another chance. In less than 6 more months, you want to say you should have bought those.
Right.
So, I mean, it's definitely I can understand the hesitation to pull the trigger, especially if you're not from this area or even live in this area. But it's really just about being able to communicate the information that's out there, really sit down and show, if this makes sense or not. But pulling that trigger is key. Yeah. And if you're serious about wanting it, you have to be ready to.
And do it now.
Yes,
absolutely. Don't be here in 2 or 3 years' time saying, oh my goodness, I should have done it in 2022. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Super. Well, that sounds great. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah, of course. Well, this is a great third podcast we are on now. So we're still learning. Bear with us. But other than that, as always, we are miles from ordinary. And no, you can cut that, right? We are close to everything and miles from ordinary. You'll have to excuse me. Cherie was not here for this one. But thank you guys for listening in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.